Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. Excuse me. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is our weekly Breakfast Bankroll on Thursday, April 4th, 2024. As I say in the description, my trip over the Sagamore Bridge down Route 3 over to I-93 to local legend, content king for DraftKings, the one and only Mr. Julian Edlow, back from Las Vegas with VSiN and all the star-studded people, colleagues, friends at the Circa, Derek, Jeffrey, and the rest of that gang. So jealous of Julian, but blessed and honored to have him here. A little camera issue, so we're going full audio. The show must go on. A lot to talk to Jules about the upcoming draft. Of course, the Celtics. How about them red-hot Red Sox? Wow, that pitching staff. I don't see Clemens or Pedro there, but the ERA at about 1.5, taking 2 out of 3 from Oakland and a split in Seattle. But first and foremost, a shout-out to our proud sponsor and partnership with WagerWire. If you have not downloaded the app, please run over to Google. Wherever you download these apps, download it. It's free. Get to know the app. Start to window shop. Start turning your investments into wagers that mean something, not just entertainment. And that's what we're here to do here. Educate, not entertain. Well, we do add a laugh or two. So anyways, scroll to the bottom, like in Massachusetts, see all those sports books and apps that are live in our state. Download them. Take advantage of the match bonuses, the props, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Start window shopping. Start buying and getting the best line available. And if you're looking to join the greatest team on the planet, that is WagerWire, send an email to affiliate@wagerwire.com. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you. Zach, Travis, Caro, Matt, Amber, the best community on X. Jump on board now before the train leaves the station. So without further ado, let's bring in the star of this show, the one and only Mr. Julian Edlow.
Good morning, Jeff. How we doing?
We're doing great, Jules. How you doing?
Good. Tired, jet lagged, but worth it. Those, when you're in Vegas and you're working on East Coast time and you got 3 or 4 of the 5 a.m. wake up calls, the clock plays tricks on you. You're going to bed. You're like, I'm being responsible. I'm having dinner, some drinks, go to bed at 10:30, but 10:30 is really 1:30, and then you feel it.
And by the time you get accustomed to it, you're
back here staying up all night trying to figure out how you can sleep.
You're back at Harry Reid waiting at the airport, waiting to come back. And it didn't help. We had a nor'easter last night. I keep saying we live in Seattle now. We don't just get, drizzle. We don't just get an occasional shower. We get 1, 2, 3 inches of rain at a time, never mind the high winds. But we're glad to have you, Jules. We're glad that you're back. A lot to talk about. The Pats in the draft. Of course, the Celtics last night clinching the overall #1 home court advantage, not just in the East, but for the full NBA playoffs. And, of course, the Final Four with my UConn Huskies, Zach Edey. And then, of course, NC State and another potential Cinderella with Alabama. But first and foremost, NFL draft. And I have to say this. We were supposedly in the catbird seat with the number 3 pick. Of course, we're going to take Jaden Daniels. And then as the weeks progressed, it sounds like Caleb to Chicago. And my take is Jaden Daniels to Washington. Now that leaves our Patriots with Drake May. Now, when I say UNC quarterbacks, we think of Mitch Trubisky. We think of Sam Howell. Now, Drake May is not them. I'm not trying to say he is. But first and foremost, give me your thoughts. Are you assuming Jaden's going to Washington? And give me your thoughts on Drake May right now.
I'm not assuming Daniels is going to Washington. I think that's what happens. And, normally I've got some draft bets in pocket by this stage, and I don't. I don't know if it's a trickier draft or all the curveballs last year threw me for a little bit of a loop, or I'm just more invested in basketball right now. But I'll certainly get around to it at some point. I would bet Jaden Daniels to go 2, and it's come back down to around like even money after the price got up to -200 or so. But still not convinced that's the case. I think Drake May is a fine quarterback. I'm not sold he's anything different than a Mitch Trubisky or a Daniel Jones. I think those things are really difficult to tell, which is obvious by the fact that the people that hold the jobs that are supposed to make these decisions that get paid the big bucks, they can't tell. They screw it up every year. So I don't know how we're supposed to tell, or our opinions are supposed to matter. So the way I feel is if the Patriots, no matter who goes 1 or 2, have one of the quarterbacks available that they've deemed a franchise quarterback at 3, they should take that player. If that's not the case, then they should look to move around. Whether it's the Minnesota deal where you create more first rounders if you can get a quarterback later and a playmaker earlier, whatever it is. I'm fine with moving around if at 3 a franchise quarterback that you've deemed is not on the board. If the franchise quarterback is there, great, take him. Probably gonna have to sit for a little while until you get an offensive line and some pass catchers. But you've got your piece. I will say, if I'm scouting, the one thing I don't want to do is take JJ McCarthy, because there's a JJ McCarthy every year. Last year it was Will Levis, who was going to go 2, 3, 4. He went in the second round. Looked okay for the Titans. Nothing special. Not a bust, I don't think either. But JJ McCarthy doesn't compare to the talent level of the top 3 guys, or really, in my mind, like I would rather have Michael Penix than JJ McCarthy. If you told me I had to use the 3rd pick and I have to use it on Penix or JJ McCarthy, no other options, I will use the 3rd pick on Michael Penix. That's just kind of a back against the wall, not a real scenario, but I don't want any part of these smoke and mirror quarterbacks that seem to climb up everyone's draft board leading up to the draft, and then they don't even go in the first round.
And from a Patriots standpoint here, I almost want to say it's settling. In other words, if Daniels slides to 3, in my eyes, it's a no-brainer. I'm taking a swing with Daniels. If it's Drake May, and I've heard a lot of reports, Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings are so hot and horny for this guy. And I'm going to play this scenario out for you. If you can trade with the Minnesota Vikings, get the 11th pick, the 23rd pick, and their first-round draft pick in 2025, to me, with all the holes the Patriots have, it's such a no-brainer. I don't think Alt will be there, but the Penn State offensive tackle will be there. You'd have your pick of one of the top 2 or 3 wide receivers, which we know we wouldn't take there. If you wanted to jump a Penix there, fine. But my point is, if you make that move, Julian, this sets up an opportunity. If I'm hearing Spencer Rattler, well, they've been talking about that for weeks, whether you want to get someone in the second, third, and fourth round, whatever, you can do that because we're not supposed to be good next year. So you're just setting up the Minnesota scenario for the Patriots next year, meaning let's just say the Patriots have the 7th pick next year and they have Minnesota's 21st pick. The Patriots now could trade those 2 picks and a first rounder for the following year and do what Minnesota's doing this year.
Yeah, I mean, long story short, to make a conclusion on what you just said, people forget that this isn't a 1-year thing. It's not like they just have the 3 pick and then the Patriots are going to go back to being the Patriots. Guess what? The Patriots are going to be picking in the top 10 for a while, it seems like. This is going to take a bit. So if you don't see a quarterback this year, you like one next year, do that. Get your receivers, get a lineman, and maybe you get the quarterback next year. This is a rebuild. They pushed off the rebuild by keeping Belichick and trying to keep their heads above water for a few years without Brady. It worked for a little bit, and then reality set in last year, and there's going to be a lot more years like last year. DraftKings Sportsbook just put out NFL win totals. Guess what the 2 lowest in the NFL are? The Carolina Panthers and the New England Patriots, 4.5. You got a 4.5 win total. You're picking in the top 10 again.
The malcontent diva did it again. That's Stephon Diggs yesterday. Forced himself out of Minnesota. Forced himself out of Buffalo. The writing was on the wall for a while now. Goes to Houston, and I have a NFL show with Ron and Dan at 2:00, and we're going to do a lot of talking on what has been going on in the NFL. But the AFC East now, if Rodgers plays 17 games with all the turnover that Buffalo has made, and we know where Miami is, in your eyes, is it a division that used to be the Patriots and a cloud of dust? Do you see some chinks in the armor, Julian, in the AFC East as we speak?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's pretty open. The Bills are a little bit on the decline, I would say. The Dolphins are kind of, they're a good team that struggled winning. Maybe they'll get over the hump this year. And the Jets are the big question mark. What are they going to look like with Rodgers and with these new pieces they've gotten? I'm intrigued by the Jets. The Patriots are out of it. We don't need to include them in the conversation. So 3-man race. I haven't bet the division yet. If you made me bet the division, I would bet the Jets. But we're a little ways out, and I'm not, I don't want to be, I reserve the right to change my mind. Let's put it that way. But Jets for me right now, and we'll see if it stays the same in a couple months.
Lastly, the trade to Diggs to Houston. Listen, CJ Stroud, an amazing year. Go ahead.
Sorry, you could go with your question, but I think I know where you're going. This more intrigues me with how to bet on Houston.
Well, the funny thing is, as you know, and we do a show every Thursday. It's the most volatile division in football. In other words, every year there's a team that we want to anoint, and every year someone comes out of the clouds. Whether it's the Jaguars, whether it's the Titans. Last year the Texans. And listen, Stroud had an amazing year. Coach Ryan had an amazing year. I love Tank Dell. I love Nico Collins. Their defense got stronger. Now you bring in a diva, a cancer. I am not buying this sizzle and steak and run into the window to go hammer the Texans, who are number 3 in some people's boards, not just in they're supposed to win the division hands down now, but they got them behind like a Kansas City, and the Ravens is a number 3 team now in the AFC, the AFC overall. I ain't buying that. Are you?
I think they're close. I mean, maybe they're 5th instead of 3rd. I don't think this is the year somebody is going to sneak up in the division is the way that I mean it. Tennessee's got a ways to go. Indy can be good, but now they have to kind of restart with Anthony Richardson almost as what is essentially his rookie year and do that all over again. So is it going to be Jacksonville? And I think Trevor Lawrence has not been as good as advertised. They lose Ridley. I think Jacksonville took a step back. So Houston got better as the season progressed, got better in the offseason. So, Diggs isn't a piece that puts them over the top or anything. It's just another piece. It's a veteran receiver to go with the young receivers. And I'm not expecting him to be in his prime. I'm just expecting him to be another one of the guys with Tank Dell and Nico Collins, and gives you another target there. And you improve the running game with Mixon, obviously. So I just think they've made enough little, small additions to create a pretty big offseason for them off of a year that they built a lot. So I am getting pretty close to betting Houston in that division at plus 115. It feels like maybe I'm missing something. Maybe somebody is sneaking up in that division, but it feels like with where people are putting Houston in the AFC, that division price is a little bit ridiculous, or a little bit too much respect to Jacksonville.
High above courtside, no Johnny Mosa, Larry Bird, but the Celtics blow out the Thunder literally in the fourth quarter, get the number 1 seed overall. Supposed to breeze through the East. Embiid is back. We always talk about futures. I've talked about the wild, wild West, but talk to the East. At this point, anyone watching and listening that's not in yet into the Celtics, do you just have to add that championship piece to your portfolio, Eastern Conference champs to the portfolio, and use that as a hedge piece, or you're just waving the white flag and the Celtics are going to beat me?
Like I've been saying all year, if we get to April, we get to the start of the playoffs, and they're still healthy, I'll start looking at them in the East. And obviously you're sacrificing a little bit of a price. It used to be plus, now it's a minus. But I'm starting to scoop up the Celtics to win the East tickets. I have the same fears that I did last year. I don't know why they can't close a close game. I don't know why Tatum has his issues. That's going to be a problem in some games. But the competition in the East isn't there. Milwaukee's not playing well. I respect the Knicks. We just got word that Julius Randle not going to be returning this season, having the surgery. The Cavs had that fluky Dean Wade game. I'm not afraid of the Cavs. Sixers get Embiid back. They're a little bit better. I can't sit here and tell you I'm afraid of the Sixers. That leaves the Heat. Maybe you get a 1-8 against Miami in the first round. That would scare me more than anything. But whether it's the first round or the Eastern Conference Finals, you're probably going to have to play them at some point. So, but if the Celtics aren't ready for Miami this time around with how good they are, then shame on them. So I think Denver is a really bad matchup for them. The Clippers, I'm starting to lose faith in. I don't know who besides Denver I think could really beat them, but I'm just playing to win the East. I think it's time. Start slowly scooping those up over the next 2 to 3 weeks. What they have fixed, now they haven't fixed winning close games, but they might be able to win the East without fixing that problem. Where that problem comes into play is against Denver. They can win the East by just beating everybody in 5 or 6 games and winning 3 of their 4 wins in the series by 15, 20 points. That's just what they do. And they're good enough to kind of front run their way through the Eastern Conference. One of the things that they had done in previous years, like last year, they were like 500 straight up as a double-digit favorite. They had a terrible problem with overlooking their competition. Now they have 3 losses to teams under 500 on the season, I think, and 2 of them were those Atlanta losses. Is Atlanta even under 500? I think they are. They have to be. So those count. 2 of them were the Atlanta losses in that Atlanta trip last week. So they've started to stop overlooking their competition. They're beating the bad teams. Last night was an example of sometimes they get these big leads and give them up. They kept their foot on the gas against OKC, even with 2 of their best players out. I think they've solved a couple problems as well that we do need to give them credit for. The only problem they still have is just closing out those close games, and it's going to be an issue. But I think they can win the East despite that issue.
And I had the game on last night in the office, and I saw Jaylen Brown grabbing his hand. Now there's talks he might have jammed it or something. Any concern with Jaylen Brown in his hand?
No, and if he wants to miss a few games, that's fine.
Let's go Final Four here. Early November, actually mid-November, early December. Gave out on the ECSI VIPs. No, we got UConn at 7-1, 7.5-1. We got Purdue right around the same there. We cashed them to each win the get to the Final Four. Obviously, Cinderella with NC State winning 5 games in the ACC tournament. Won a 3-pointer at the buzzer to get to OT to beat Virginia, and then to rattle off 4 wins in a row with Mr. Burns being the star of the show. Now has to face, obviously, Zach Edey. And in comes Bama. We know live and die by the 3, beats UNC. Good team. I've even seen a look-ahead line from the Superbook at Westgate. If UConn and Purdue meet, UConn -6, which is just unbelievable. Thoughts on the Final Four? Do you have any tickets alive, and what are you thinking for this weekend?
Yeah, we got the look ahead up at DraftKings at 5.5 for Purdue UConn. You can also bet, this is something I think is worth putting in pocket right now. Exact result, UConn over Purdue -110. Good price, very likely result in my mind. So yeah, I did bet NC State +9.5, but I do have some UConn over Purdue. So a little bit of a hedge or a middle or both or whatever you want to call that. It feels like a single-digit game to me, the way NC State's playing. I think they're a tough team to cap because you make the number off the full season. You move it a little bit for them being hot, but like the team that they are right now is a pretty darn good team with what we've seen. The UNC win, the Duke win. You know, they've got a few good bigs. Not that that'll do anything with Edey, but at least they have some fouls to use, I guess. They have good guard play. They have good shooting. They seem like a good enough team right now to keep this single digits with Purdue. So I did do that. I think Purdue ultimately wins, and I laid it with UConn. I had UConn Elite 8 tickets. I had UConn Final 4 tickets. I have UConn to reach the final tickets. I have UConn to win it all tickets. Last year, I had all those as well, and I regretted not betting them game to game because they kept blowing doors. I said, I'm going to do it this year. I've been doing it this year. First half, full game. They keep cashing me tickets. So I laid 11.5 with UConn. I don't care about the plane thing. They got there late. Hurley's going to take that, spin it into motivation. You may remember they were homeless in Las Vegas last year for the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. No hotel room. They got a late hotel. They proceeded to beat Arkansas by 23 and then Gonzaga by 28 and got out of Vegas. So Alabama's good. They're going to have to make a ton of threes, which they did against Clemson. I like their chances less to do that against UConn. They also got lucky with Clemson, a really good free throw shooting team, shooting 50% from the line, while Bama shot 45% from 3. They also bullied Clemson. They out-rebounded Clemson 40-28. UConn's going to bully you and out-rebound you and defend your threes. It seems like too much with this UConn team. They match up well with everyone. So, and they're hell-bent on beating everyone with margin. The 10 tournament games these last 2 years, their most narrow margin of victory is 13 points. Alabama's going to have to give them the best game of anyone yet if they're going to cover 11.5. So yeah, if it loses, it loses, but I'm just at the point where you lay it with UConn.
No, 100%. And it's funny you brought up last year in Vegas. I'm drawing a blank. It wasn't New York. It wasn't the Circus.
It was the one that's currently got the Dorito on it.
Yes, and they got there, and as our good friend and colleague Dave Sharapan would say, I wouldn't have my enemy stay there. They got there. They saw what was going on.
That was one of the media hotels during Super Bowl week, and people were saying it was fine. But it was a fine hotel. It wasn't fancy, but it was doable.
Fine.
I haven't stayed there. I've actually never been there, but maybe I'll check it out one day. Not stay, but check it out.
Yeah, well, exactly. Someone like yourself who, sitting at the, the mecca of all meccas, the circa high above.
I much prefer my accommodations at Circa.
A short window today. I get it. I can't thank you enough. Obviously, we had the camera. This is fine. As long as we get you on here to talk once a week, I'm happy. Everyone else here, standing room only, is happy. The scroll has been going the whole time. On X, go follow Julian at Julian Edlow at DraftKings and DK Sportsbook, the Sweat DK and a VSiN Live DK Network. But Julian, as we always end here, tell everyone why to download the DraftKings app. Tell them maybe what you got for some promos tonight or this weekend for the Final Four, and obviously where to catch your show live on the weekends.
Yeah, I mean, big menu at DK Sportsbook, so you're gonna be able to bet whatever you want to bet here. Let me see. I think what we got, the main thing for this weekend, 44% college hoops parlay profit boost. So if you're if you're gonna parlay anything together for the two games on Saturday night, boost it by 44%. Do yourself a favor. That's a pretty good chunk right there. And you can catch my show, The Sweat, Saturday and Sunday mornings, 8 to 10 Eastern on VSiN, on DraftKings Network, among many other places. We tweeted out at DK. Good in studio Saturday Final Four breakdown we have coming. We'll have Chris Thurston, CT Betts, along with Kelly Stewart, Kelly in Vegas, both in studio in Boston. We'll be doing a double segment, a full segment on each game, so you'll get some thoughts there.
Holy moly, roll out the red carpet, roll out the Viva. It sounds like a hell of a weekend there, Julian. Thank you so much as always. We'll catch up with you next Thursday. Enjoy the Final Four. Make sure you tell Kelly and CT Betts we said hello, and we will talk soon, my brother.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jules. The one and only Julian Edlow at DK Sportsbook at DraftKings. Go follow him and watch him on The Sweat Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 10 Eastern. Great friend, great colleague, blessing us back from Vegas. And, of course, the jet lag. We had a nor'easter here. We got about 2-3 inches of rain. I saw Noah's Ark last night. They were coming in twos and twos. So it's just crazy, all the rain. I tell you what, my lawn better look like Augusta this spring. That's for sure. I mean, we've had more rain than Seattle times 10, I swear to God. But 2:00, set your notifications, turn them on right now. And if you're not following us on YouTube, go over to East Coast Sports Investors, subscribe. It's free. Turn on the notifications. Never miss a show with Julian. Never miss a show with Travis and Zach from Wager Wire. And today at 2:00, you don't want to miss this. Ron from Ron A Sports and Dan Rivera. Where I'm going to be the host with the mostest. I almost was going to do the referee shirt, but I went full Felger today. I was like, I want to be Felger today. So I got the Felger look here from 98.5 Felger and Maz. We're going to talk draft. We're going to talk about the trades, the moves, the top 10 picks. We're supposed to do it in an hour. I have no idea how we're going to do it in an hour. I'm going to have to bring this because I can talk an hour about just the Diggs move alone and what the Patriots should do. So that's at 2:00 today. Tomorrow at 2:30, Matt Grissom, Quentin Mills, our 3 Men in a Box college baseball show. Myself and Scott Webb, the odds couple, will be talking baseball. I think sometime on Friday. We're going to squeeze Andrew McGinnis in from Wager Talk and McGinnis Picks and talk some hockey either Friday, Saturday. Juggling here. I feel like I'm in the circus. So thank you all. I can't wait. Make sure you're back here at 2:00. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at DC Sports Invest, Julian Edlow, who has left the building at DraftKings at DK Sportsbook at Julian Edlow. Wish everyone a great morning. Enjoy yourselves. Have a couple cups of coffee, and we'll see you at 2:00 right here. Don't be late.